So in this video, we're going to talk about how to save money on a lot of different things. Everything that you would normally spend money on. We're going to talk about how to save money on your car. We're going to talk about how to save money on eating out, how to save money on groceries, how to save money on your subscriptions, and really everything that kind of goes into your life. Rent, utilities, everything that you would normally spend. Okay, so because we're serious now, I've changed into a white shirt and it's now bright. Not because it's daytime, but because I've put the lights on there over here somewhere. So what can you save money on? Let's start with that because that's super interesting. Now, what I think personally is you can't save money on absolutely everything. There are some things which you just need to spend money on, and those things for me are rent and electricity and utilities pretty much. So rent is pretty difficult to pay less money for. You can obviously move. It's not ideal if you're in a very expensive area. It might be a valid thing to do to move to a less affluent area in order to save money, because say if your rent is sort of £600-800 a month, and you can sort of half that potentially, then of course that is a massive saving. So if that's £400 a month over 12 months, that ends up being £4,800. So that's quite a lot of saving you can make there. But of course, the majority of people saving on rent is not going to be an option. However, there is an interesting thing you can do. So if your lease is up for renewal and your landlord comes to you and says, guys, we're going to put up the rent. What you can kind of do is, if you're kind of happy to potentially move somewhere else, as long as you know you can get the same rent somewhere else, you can say to your landlord, actually, we found a place which is £50 a month cheaper, but we'd really like to stay here. So if you can keep the rent the same, we will stay here. And try that, and see if that works. Of course, you have to be willing to accept that your landlord might say, no, I'm raising the rent, so either you move out or you pay more. But it's something that can work. And actually, I have suggested it to a friend and it did actually work. So there you go. That's something you can try if you feel like you want to. As for utilities, things like electricity, council tax, and gas, I don't want to get into that too much, but my personal belief is you can't really save too much money there. I mean, you need to live. You need to put the heating on when it's cold. You can obviously wear more jumpers and things like that if you want to save a bit of money, but we'll go into that more in another video. So the first thing we're going to look at is your subscriptions. Now, do you need them all? That is the very first question. So let's say you've got a Peloton or Swift subscription. They can be quite hefty. So could they be cancelled potentially, and you could get out on your bike out and about? Even if you have to don some winter clothes, it might be a better option than sort of paying £30, £40, £50 a month. Next, your sort of Netflix, HBO, Disney Plus. Do you need them all? Can you condense them down to just the one? I would suggest just a Netflix or just a Disney Plus, the thing that you use the most, and just channel that extra money that you save into something else. Now, really do have a think about this, because you want more money coming in each month than you have going out. And that seems kind of obvious, but treat it really like a subscription model. So you want more passive income coming in than subscriptions going out. You can't do anything about your rent, you can't do anything about your utilities, but you can only start subscriptions when you can afford them from your passive income. So that's how we're going to save money here. Say, for example, we've got high interest bank accounts at the moment. And if you're making, say, £20 a month from a bank account, from savings in a bank account, then that means essentially you can feel okay, I believe, in my opinion anyway, you can feel okay spending £20 a month on subscriptions because you're kind of earning that without doing anything. So that's all cool. Now, how are we going to save money on mobile phones? Well, on your mobile phone, you're going to try and get a SIM-only phone. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of an outlay, maybe, but then that's kind of depending on you, on your kind of income level and your savings level. So if you've got a higher amount of savings, you can get a more expensive SIM-only phone. And if you've got a lower savings level or no savings at all, you're going to want to sort of stick to the sort of cheaper models. And you're going to want to get a SIM-only contract. There's a lot of cheap ones out there. My personal recommendation would be giffgaff. You can pay £10 a month, and it pretty much, that's how much I pay, and I get everything I need, and I use my phone all day, every day. You make sure you're not using the YouTube all day on the 3G, but I mean, there's Wi-Fi everywhere, so you don't need to do that. How to save money on your car? Well, you're not going to like this one. Basically, don't have a car or get rid of it. That's pretty much the only way to save money on a car, because you're going to be doing all the usual things like shopping around for the cheapest petrol, getting the best insurance deal. So I'm not going to go into details about how to save massive amount of money on your car. You could take public transport to work now and again, take less trips on the weekend, but ideally you are just going to you're going to use your car however much you need it. So it's quite hard to save money there, just like utilities. The best idea is just not to have one. How to save money on eating out? No, that's the wrong thing to say, because you're not going to save money on eating out. And that's the point. Eating out is one of the things that's going to cost you the most amount of money. I've got a lot of friends who eat out a lot, and surprise, surprise, I've got a lot more savings than them. So eating out and getting things like Deliveroo, takeaways, the less you do of that, the more money you're going to save on an ongoing basis, and kind of try and make that a habit to eat in. And also you can probably eat a little bit healthier. So that brings me to how to save money on your groceries. I've done this experiment over quite a few years, and there are basically two items or two classifications of items that cost more money when you go to the shops. So imagine this. You walk in, you're going for a bag of frozen peas because you've just run out. I don't know, whatever. You go in and all of a sudden you see a lot of different other products. And I'm just the same as you guys. I will end up picking up a whole basket worth of stuff before I actually leave the supermarket, even though I came for just one thing. Now that's fine, because that's always going to happen. There's almost nothing you can do about that, right? Unless you write a list. But one of the things you can do is go in just with a basket, and that prevents you from buying too much stuff, because when it gets too heavy, you need to go to the checkout because you can't actually carry anymore. I found that's a great one for me. Might work for you, I don't know. Just don't take the trolley. Here is my top tip. If you, it's going to sound a little bit crazy, but it will save you a lot of money if you go for this. Buy these, and I don't specifically mean peppers. I mean vegetable. These are all my props, by the way. I mean buy vegetables. Maybe not this one. This is a butternut squash. Maybe not this one. This one was actually quite expensive. So buy vegetables. If you only buy vegetables, you cannot spend that much money. And, if you have them with rice or pasta or bulgur wheat or couscous, you're going to be very happy as long as you add some spices, some salt, some pepper, some sauces, some tomatoes. It's going to be a very good meal. The two things that cost the most amount of money are meat and alcohol. And that's probably not a surprise, but you probably needed to hear it. If you buy meat as well with your shop, you're basically doubling your shop cost. If you're buying vegetables and then you buy meat as well, that's a doubling of cost. Then if you buy alcohol as well, you're doubling that again. So vegetables are about a quarter of a weekly shop, whereas everything else just adds up and up and up. The other thing that I haven't mentioned is, of course, branded goods, your crisps, your snacks, all that sort of thing. Totally up to you. I mean, at the end of the day, this video is all about saving money to the maximum. honestly, if you just buy vegetables, it will replace other things. You won't be able to eat as much because you will be eating these. So I hope you like them, because if not, then you've probably not got too much from this section. But try, honestly, please try. The last thing I wanted to touch upon were hobbies, sports, any sort of exercise, anything that you spend money on where it's sort of benefiting your health and your lifestyle. Don't try to save money on this sort of stuff. If you're paying for a gym membership, and as long as you go, I mean, it might be a subscription, and I've said try and cancel your subscriptions, but it's only a good thing. You know, if you're paying to improve your health and bring you happiness, do not try and save money on that. Personally, I go bouldering once a week, and it costs around about £10, maybe slightly more, and that's £40 a month. That's absolutely fine. I just don't even count that as expenditure, because it's super, super important for health and for, you know, a social atmosphere. So don't ever try to cut down too much on that type of thing. Cut down on alcohol, cut down on I haven't even mentioned cigarettes. That's one of the biggest things that you can kind of cut out. It's difficult, very, very difficult, but if you can cut down on or cut them out, then you're going to save so much money. So that is a kind of summary of how you can start beating this recession. Now, you have to face it. Prices are going up, and there's nothing we can do about it. And actually, one of the things that happens during inflation and during a recession is there are no winners. There are only losers. And everyone is a loser. So we're just trying to pick the best bad option here. And the best bad option is to save money as much as we can, because we don't know what the future is going to be like. Invest our money into solid companies or into bank accounts paying high amounts of interest. And just try and do the things we enjoy while living as frugally as possible. So there's no real secret here. It's just about being a little bit less, accepting that we've got a little bit less of the sort of freedom in expenditures that we have had in the past few years, because it's just going to change. That's the way it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed that special. It was a little bit of a different video from what I normally do, but I thought I would spend a little bit more time on doing this because it is one of those videos which I think will help people a lot more than my normal sort of investment videos or how-to videos. So I hope it was very interesting. As usual, you will see 2 of my videos here, and please do like and subscribe down below because it helps out the channel a lot, and it'll help a lot more people to see these videos. And who doesn't want to see how to save more money? I think it's really important that everybody starts learning these lessons. So here we go. I'll catch you on the next video.